This is a 2000 Porsche Boxster. If you like any modern Porsche, this is the car you need to thank for. Allow me to explain in just a moment. Today, I borrowed this car from a friend here in Reading, Pennsylvania to show you why I think this is an awesome car. After that, I'll show you some of my favorite features, take it for a drive, and point out some of the things to look for if you're planning on buying one. I'm sure many of you will find it surprising, given Porsche's success now, but in the 90s, Porsche was a dying brand. By 1993, sales had plummeted to 14,000 units worldwide, including 3,700 units here in the US. The 911 sports car had lost its appeal and just wasn't selling like it used to. Porsche needed a more affordable entry-level sports car to revitalize the brand and replace the aging 924, 944, and the 968 platform. And so they came up with this, the Boxster, made by Mazda, built by Toyota, and assembled in Finland. That's right, Porsche needed a small, fun sports car that was well built and cost less to produce. So they looked to Mazda for inspiration, who had figured out the small sports car game with their Mazda Miata, a Japanese sports car inspired by the British fun little convertible sports cars. Then they went and hired consultants made up of former Toyota engineers to implement Toyota's Kaizen, or just-in-time production process. The Toyota engineers were horrified by the Germans' process, which involved workers climbing up ladders to search through parts bins. The improvements made by the Japanese team resulted in a car that can be produced for half the cost and half the time. As a result, Boxster helped improve Porsche's overall process, which later helped improve the build quality and efficiency on all the cars. This model that I'll be reviewing today has a 2.7-liter engine with 217 horsepower. If you want to know more details about the other renditions, look in the description below. Now, let's walk around, take a look at the interior, where I will show you some of my favorite features. Then, we'll take it for a spin and show you some of the things you should look for when buying one. Check out, for instance, these two manly pull handles to open the trunk and the frunk. It's incredible, very ergonomical, easy to reach, well made. They're very cool. I also like this holder here under the steering column. It's for your owner's manual, but I think you can fit a slice of pizza here pretty easily. I also like the active spoiler in the rear. I don't think it does anything for downforce, but it looks pretty damn cool. And the best feature for last, the secret compartment right behind the seats. Going camping, anybody? You can store your extra underwear right in here. Alright, cool.
Here we are.
Here we are. You know, one thing that I don't like is this was made for left-handed people.
That's right.
I like the power hand to store the the car.
And guess what I am?
A lefty.
Lefty, yeah.
It actually takes like 12 seconds, according to Porsche, to put the top down, which is pretty impressive, especially back in the day. Very smooth shifter, which is good for a daily driver, especially driving at the racetrack. You always want something that's not gonna wear you out. Good power, and the steering wheel is very light, but it's heavy enough. It's actually quite nice. It's impressive. I mean, this is the car. If you're looking for a mid-engine car, there's absolutely nothing better than this. The price is great. Right now you can get them for $7,000 to $15,000 for right around this year or older. Depends on the mileage, but it's important to keep in mind that you want to buy a car that has fewer miles rather than more miles, because you pay for it if you buy something cheaper.
And you always want to make sure you have all the history records on the car and the owners and all the information about what maintenance they did to the car.
Absolutely.
That's was very important when we picked this out because it had very good documentation.
Yep. Clutch is, just heavy enough that, it's engaging and direct. Look, boss, there's a plane. And the sound is very nice too.
Yes.
The engine is it's got a nice tone to it, so when you're just cruising around, it's quiet enough that you can enjoy the environment you're in, but if you nail it, it sounds pretty good. Talking about nail it, do you mind if I step on it a little bit?
No, go right ahead.
You sure?
You're the master. Just be careful because it's still a little wet and there's a lot of leaves. Right?
Sounds great, doesn't it? Brakes are nice. They're nice and steady.
I'm gonna need to replace them soon.
Really?
Yeah, the pad.
These cars, you cannot turn these rotors. It's a replace only. You always have to replace them, not turn them. So that's important to know as well.
And it's a beautiful summer day up here on Skyline Drive in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the day couldn't have been any better.
Right.
For a drive with the top down. Speaking of the top down, you were saying you don't have the windscreen here, right?
Correct. It's not in right now. Yep.
Which you can kind of feel the air tumbling a little bit more than usual, but it's not the end of the world. And you know what's nice about these cars? They're very direct, not harsh, but they let you know what's going on the road, which is really important for a driver.
And as the famous movie quote goes, Porsche, there is no substitute. What was the name of that movie, Miguel?
A Porsche's Club.
Miguel is learning something as we speak. The movie was Risky Business with Tom Cruise.
Porsche, there is no substitute. Fuck you.
And something that Porsche always gets right is the ergonomics inside, as far as the driving position, where things are in front of you. If you look at the gauge, it's right there where it needs to be. You don't have to be looking down too much or to the side. It's pretty cool. The controls are where they need to be. And it's such a nice environment. You're not really too confined, but it's not too open that you feel like you're driving an SUV, which is something that you want.
And I'm 6'2", I go about 225, and I fit fine. Plenty of headroom with the top up. Couldn't be more comfortable in it.
Yeah, a lot of tall people can fit, without a problem, which is great. Especially when you have a helmet on if you want to take it to the racetrack.
And there are many two-seater convertible cars that I would not fit in. This is not one of them.
And now you are really pumped and excited to buy one of these. So allow me to highlight some of the things you should look for when buying one. I made a video to show you general things to look for when buying any car, like body shape, signs of wear, leaks, etc. The link is included below. Use that as your basis, but now let's dig into things to look for this car specifically. Keep in mind that it is never a bad idea to bring along a car-savvy friend like myself who is familiar with these cars to help you look for things. If you find one that you have your heart set on, I would also recommend that you get a PPI or pre-purchase inspection done by an experienced Porsche mechanic. It will be the best $150 you spend on the car. And now I've taken you to the other side of this Porsche. So we're going to take a look from behind, and I'm going to show you all about the IMS, the intermediate shaft bearing. This is a more hyped up issue since the number of affected is minimal. But when inspecting the vehicle, look for signs of oil leaks around the bell housing. When time comes to replace the clutch, be sure to get the IMS bearing checked and replaced if necessary. I included a link below of one of the most reputable places to get a far more robust replacement IMS bearing. Next, let's talk about score cylinder liners. Early 2.5 engines had issues with cylinder liners, among other things. This one is a little bit more difficult to diagnose, but an extensive PPI should find it if it's there. Next is the ignition switch. These tend to fail quite frequently in these cars. Fortunately, it's not too expensive to replace it if you do the work yourself. The part ranges from $10 to $50, and you will know if you have a faulty ignition switch if you're experiencing one of the following issues. You have difficulty turning the key, you have intermittent operation of your electrical devices like the radio and the AC, or you have difficulty inserting or extracting the key, or flickering lights. Now the keys. Make sure that it comes with 2 of these keys and that they work well, as replacement can cost about $200 to $300 each, and they're a real pain to secure. You gotta go to the parts counter, you gotta bring in your card for programming, all this kind of nonsense. If it doesn't have 2 keys, make sure you discount it from the sale price. Another item to look for is the missing rear wing deflector. Early models came with the Lexan wing deflector, and then the later models came with a glass one. This piece can be costly to replace, and without it, driving with the top down is not as enjoyable. And lastly, the rear main seal oil leaks, or RMS. This is more of a cosmetic issue, but take some time and look around the rear of the car, inspect and look for oil leaks. If you have to replace this seal, it does require for you to remove the bumper, and it's a very costly job, so make sure that you take into account if there are any leaks around the area. And there you have it. I hope that every detail that I show you today can help you finding your own Porsche. Thanks a lot, and please make sure to subscribe and leave me a comment below.
Hi, I'm Miguel Jr. 2 keys or another key. Wait.
Let's put him on the spot.
Pull it back down. Wait.
It's always good to have a fire department available in case your Porsche gets caught on fire.
IMS, the intermediate bearing shaft. This is more of a hyped up issue. What? I spent $3,000. What do you mean hyped up? Don't be saying that.